right, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash.
double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to all the Akim out there pushing the word of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. In truth and sincerity, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, brought them to you all. All right, we're the brothers from Great Millstone, Miami. I'm the brother lawyer. With me.
Jeremiah.
And what we're going to be going into in this lesson is the final fruit of the Spirit mentioned in Galatians chapter 5, which is temperance, which also means self-control. All right, when you go into the Greek, all right, and self-control, another way of saying that is discipline. Discipline, self-control, temperance is a very important part of this walk of ours. Okay, we have to maintain discipline over our spirits, over our emotions. Okay, how we deal with life. Okay, how you interact with people, how you interact with brothers. Okay, how you interact with food and drink and women and all those things. All right, and how you express or choose not to express your emotions. All right, all fall under the umbrella of discipline. Okay, and the scriptures go into those things beautifully. And so it's been a while since we went into one of these types of lessons, the fruit of the Spirit, but it's going to be the last one. And we hear me and the brother Yeremia, and through the Spirit we put it together. And Lord willing, this video is edifying. But before we begin, we want to just let brothers know we are a bit under the weather. So if you hear any sneezing or anything like that, sniffling, salakia, we don't mean to offend anybody by that. Okay, but with all of that being said, we're going to start with Galatians chapter 5, verse 1 and not verse 1, verse 22. And Lord willing, this video is edifying.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And they that are Hamashiach have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another.
Right, so those are the fruits of the Spirit, man. All right, when you're walking in the Spirit, when the Holy Spirit is upon you, when it's working through you, all right, those are characteristics that you would display. Okay, love, love towards the Heavenly Father and His Son. All right, love for the truth, love for the Akim, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, meekness, faith, and temperance. Okay, and I just wanted to go get the word temperance real quick in the Greek, just to double check what I said. Temperance is
Strong's G 1466. Ekrateia.
krateia, which is self-control, the virtue of one who masters his desires and passions, especially his sensual appetites. Okay, so that's what the word temperance means. Okay, it means to have the virtue of having discipline over your desires and passions. Okay, desires, emotions, passions. Okay, lust. You have to have control over those things. Okay, because if you don't, even in cases where that desire may be lawful, all right, it might not be expedient or beneficial for you or for the body. All right, and verse 24 says, "And they that are Hamashiach Yahushai have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts." If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Okay, so those that are in the faith of Yahushai are, and now and in the past, were known for having great levels of self-control. Okay, all right, great levels and great desire. All right, and ability to put off and to mortify the desires of the flesh. Okay, so with that, we're just gonna go into the scriptures and yeah, yeah, man, you got it, bro.
All right. This is the book of Proverbs 16, verse 32. It reads, "He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city."
That's it. God. So it's one way of showing and displaying self-control is having control over your anger. Okay, your emotions, particularly anger. Okay, because anger, that's one emotion where once it's like how do I say, like when you pull the trigger to a gun.
Right.
All right, once the trigger's pulled and the bullet flies, you know,
Right.
you know, it ain't coming back. You know what I'm saying? All right, so anger is one of those emotions when once displayed, depending on how it's displayed and and expressed, all right, it can be detrimental to you if you don't have control over it, okay? Because you can't take back. As a lot of times you can't really lose sight of judgment and like clarity of discernment, all right, when you give yourself over to your anger, okay? All right, so that's why the scriptures say that he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth the spirit is than he that taketh a city, man. And ancient philosophers and thinkers have always talked about those that can rule their emotions and those that can rule their anger, and how much better it is to rule your anger and your emotions than it is to be mighty in battle. Okay, all right, and to be a mighty man and be able to make things happen on your own carnally. Okay, all right, because really in order to govern anything, you have to learn how to govern yourself. That's the first thing that you want to learn, and the best thing that you want to learn to govern. Okay, especially your emotions. All right, so you can go to what is that? Proverbs 17 we have next after that.
James.
Okay, come.
This is James chapter 1, verse 19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God.
Right, so James chapter 1 reiterates the sentiment. All right, be slow to speak, man. Okay, so we, like the saying goes, you have two ears and one mouth for a reason. Okay, all right, so you have to control your mouth. You have to control how much you speak, when you speak, what you say. All right, and make sure that when you're speaking in a way that is edifying and beneficial. Okay. Um, it says, "Let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath." Okay, all right, and that's land back off of the other precept that we brought out in Proverbs. Okay, ruling your spirit, ruling your anger, man. Okay, because the wrath of man is just the wrath of man. It's very sensual, you know. Whereas, so it can't accomplish righteousness in and of itself. Okay, that doesn't mean that we don't get angry and that we don't get passionate when we preach or anything like that. That happens. Okay, sometimes zeal, all right, might cause you to get passionate. You might go on a little rant, but that's not, being in the sways of anger is not the way to be. Our scriptures say wrath was not made for men. Okay, and furious anger for the sons of men. All right, so part of not ruling your spirit, but being temperate and having self-control, all right, is really just letting the Most High deal with a situation, okay, rather than trying to let your anger lead you to try to take control of a situation, okay. You had anything you wanted to say?
So Proverbs 17, verse 27. He that hath knowledge spareth his words, and the man of understanding is of an excellent spirit. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise. And he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding.
God. With that particular precept there, it says, "He that hath knowledge spareth his words."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's also again discipline of the tongue. Okay, knowing when to speak, knowing when not to speak. Okay, not uttering all your mind. Okay, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit. Now, when you go to that word excellent, I believe it goes into being cool spirited. Okay, being calm, cool, and collected. Okay, even killed, so to speak. All right, and that's a sign that you have great understanding. Okay, even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. Okay, so even if you don't know anything, if you rule your tongue and you discipline your mouth, okay, you can be esteemed as somebody who is wise and understanding. Okay.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 19, verse 5. It reads, nah. Yeah. Sirach, chapter 19, verse 5. Whoso taketh pleasure in wickedness shall be condemned, but he that resisteth pleasures crowneth his life. It says, he that can rule his tongue shall live without strife. He that hateth babbling shall have less evil.
Right, right. Okay. Now, verse 5 stands out because it says, whoso taketh pleasure in wickedness shall be condemned. All right, you got these people out in the world just following after all their lust. The Lord said that they're going to be condemned, man. All right, but he that resisteth pleasures crowneth his life, man. And when we opened up, went into the word temperance, which means self-control, virtue of one who has mastery over his passions and desires. Okay, all right, so showing that restraint, okay, against pleasure, abstaining from pleasures. Actually, the scriptures say in first, I believe it's First Peter's. Just swing by it real quick. First Peter's chapter 2, verse 11. It says, "Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lust, which war against the soul." Okay, all right. So the scriptures tell us to abstain from fleshly lust, man, and that's a case by case basis with each and every one of us. Okay, that doesn't mean that we don't have certain outlets and things that we like to do, but it's best to abstain. All right, from being overly indulgent in those things because they war against the soul. The flesh looks for comfort. Okay, looks to be complacent, to be always following after pleasures and lust and desires. All right, but that wars against the soul because it keeps you, on that low vibration of following after your desires constantly. You're not in the spirit. Okay, that's why the scriptures teach temperance, man, because temperance helps keep you focused. So you can go to the next verse. What verse 6? It says, "He that can rule his tongue shall live without strife, and he that hateth babbling shall have less evil." All right, so it's good to a lot of cases keep your mouth shut. Okay, all right, to say less. All right, now granted, in these lessons and sit downs, we are more candid in the way we speak. All right, but dealing with situations out in the world or even amongst the brotherhood, sometimes it's best to just keep things, or keep your tongue in your mouth, so to speak. All right, all right. It says, "Shall live without strife." All right, and people who talk a lot, generally, and always have something to say, always generally have a lot of problems. you know, and so you got the next precept.
This Sirach chapter 18, verse 30. Go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thine appetites. That's going into being temperate. Don't hearken unto your lust, but follow the spirit. Read again. Go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thine appetites. That goes into ruling your spirit. And that's something that we all have to do more.
God. And you got to know that. You got to know that within and of yourself, man. Because again, it's a case by case basis. We don't all have the same ticks. Okay, we don't all have the same vices. Don't all have the same things that we like and dislike. Okay, so you have to know for yourself what things that if you overindulge in, or if you do, or you may have a problem ruling that particular emotion, can get you in trouble or take you out of the spirit. Okay, and that goes into examining yourself whether you be in the faith. All right. What you got up next, bro?
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 7. It says, "And if a man love righteousness, her labors are virtues. For she teacheth temperance and prudence." Talking about wisdom, that she is wisdom. It says, "For she teacheth temperance and prudence, justice and fortitude, which are such things as men can have nothing more profitable in their life." So that's profitable to have in your life is what? Temperance, self-control, prudence, justice, fortitude, being strong in even in adversity, it says, as men can have nothing more profitable in their life because it's going to make you better. But it starts. We have to examine ourselves to see what's holding us back. You know, see what we can master.
That's right. This is Wisdom of Solomon 6:17. For the very true beginning of her, which is wisdom, is the desire of discipline, and the care of discipline is love, and love is the keeping of her laws, and the giving heed unto her laws is the assurance of incorruption. And incorruption maketh us near unto the Most High. Okay, so in order to gain wisdom, you have to desire discipline. Okay, desire self-control and temperance. Okay, and by having a care for it, you show love by keeping the commandments, by keeping the laws and the sayings of the ancient men of old. Okay, and by doing that, you inherit incorruption, which makes you near unto the Most High, man. And that's how we're gonna get out of here, walking in the Spirit. Okay, the Spirit of wisdom. All right, and displaying and cultivating the fruits of the Spirit. All right, mortified in deeds of the body. That's what's gonna allow us to get those new bodies, man. Those incorruptible bodies that fade not away. Okay, reserved in heaven for you, like it says in First Peter chapter 1. Okay, and we're gonna be able to be with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right, in those new bodies, eternal, perfect. You know, therefore the desire of wisdom bringeth to a kingdom. Okay, and that's where discipline. Okay, as it's applied in the scriptures, that's where it's all leading to. Okay, the Most High gave us His truth, all right, to teach us discipline, prudence, okay, understanding, temperance, and all those things. All right, and it's beneficial and it's necessary that we apply, all right, those attributes to ourselves, man. Okay, in our speech, with our emotions, how we teach, okay, how we deal with brothers, okay, how we deal with alcohol or whatever, you know. And by doing that, we're gonna be able to get salvation and get the kingdom.
It's 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24. It reads, know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize. So run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible.
Right.
I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway.
Calm. Now, Paul says that in order to attain this incorruptible crown, we have to be temperate in all things. Okay, and he says that he keepeth under his body and bringeth it into subjection. So we always have to be in the mentality, the mindset of showing and displaying and exercising self-control. Okay, all right. And when you go to the word temperate, all right, verse 25.
Strong's G 1467. Ekratuamai. Ekratuamai.
It says to be self-controlled, continent, exhibit self-government, conduct one self-temperately, and a figure drawn from athletes who, in preparing themselves for the games, abstain from unwholesome food, wine, and sexual indulgence. Okay, so Paul is drawing an analogy, all right, between athletes in the world, okay, which in his days you had the Corinth Games, you had the Olympics, all right, of ancient Greece and Rome, okay, and the athletes, which you can tell Paul was into watching sports and the games and stuff like that. All right, he draws an analogy of how they would discipline themselves by abstaining from wine and food and sex, so that they could be more focused on their task at hand. Okay, and the task for them was so that they could get the trophy or get the victory or get the championship. Okay, all right. He draws that analogy to the truth, man, because we doing it for an incorruptible crown. We fighting against the flesh, and we trying to subdue the flesh and put it under subjection, so that we could gain salvation, man, so that we could gain the kingdom. Okay, and that's why he says that he keeps under his body is a constant thing that he has to do. Okay, you got to constantly fight to be more and more self-controlled, so that lest you be a castaway. All right, and that's not what we want, man. We not of them that draw back into perdition, okay, but unto those that believe to the saving of our soul. So,
It's the book of Sirach 32. Sirach 32, verse 14. Whoso feareth Yahweh will receive his discipline, and they that seek him early shall find favor. Pretty much plain. If you fear the Most High, you're going to receive his discipline, you know. He's going to discipline you. And by he disciplining you and chastising you, you're being a better man, you know.
read it again.
Verse 14, whoso feareth the Lord will receive his discipline, and they that seek him early shall find favor.
Right. It says, whoso feareth the Lord will receive discipline. Now, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Okay? And you shall receive his discipline. So we got to look into these scriptures and see what the scriptures say about discipline, all right, of the body, man. Discipline of the mind, discipline of the emotions, discipline of the desires. Okay? All right? So that we may find favor. And what's the favor that we want? Okay? Protection from Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation, all right, salvation, and the kingdom, man. Okay? All right, those new bodies, man.
Right.
All right?
That's right.
You got it.
Next one is Sirach 31. Okay. This is the book of Sirach 31, verse 28. Wine measurably drunk and in season bringeth gladness of the heart and cheerfulness of the mind. But wine drunken with excess maketh bitterness of the mind with brawling and quarreling.
Got it.
So there's nothing wrong with drinking wine if it's drunken immeasurably, you know. And verse 29 says, but wine drunken with excess maketh bitterness of the mind, which, you know, the majority of us experience that. Having a hangover, and the next morning you feeling like you have a bad headache. You know, you're regretting that you were drinking so much the other night before. So by you know, being temperate and having shown self-control in drinking, that's profitable to you, to us, to all of us.
Right. And it shows you how important temperance is, because you know, we know that it's not wrong, you know, to deal with certain things like wine and things of that nature, right? But if you don't deal with it temperately, because we're in the flesh, you're gonna have issues, man.
Right.
Okay, that's why the scriptures say all things are what? Lawful but not expedient. Okay, all things are lawful but not all things edify. All right, sometimes it's not good for you, sometimes it's not good for the man next to you. Okay, so you have to understand that balance. Okay.
Verse 30, it says, drunkenness increaseth the rage of a fool till he offend. It diminishes strength and maketh wounds. Yeah, you know, let's say you're really drunk at a bar, you might try to fight somebody. And you're going to get beat up because your wits is not with you all the way.
Right. Or if you win the fight, you
right.
You know what I'm saying? You might go to jail. It don't like you might end up in jail. Somebody gotta bail you out. You drunk, and then you on the highway or on the road. You get in an accident, police ticket, all that. You know, and then who gonna have to bear the brunt of that? You know. You know, and then temperance. A lot of temperance has to do with you know, thinking before you act. You know. So that helps avoid the issues.
Proverbs 31, verse 1. It reads, the words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. What, my son, and what the son of my womb, and what the son of my vows? Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drink, lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted.
Right. And so what's that parable going into? That's not to say you can't drink. It says, and it's not to say that you can't deal with women. What it's saying is you're not supposed to give yourself over to those desires, okay? Because they pervert the judgment of kings and judges and princes, which is what we're supposed to be, okay?
That's right.
That's it. That's all. I mean, that
That's
was the
it.
last precept we had, but that was the last precept.
Nah, verse 5.
Mhm.
It says, lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted. That's it.
Con. All right, and so with that, I got Second Peter's chapter 1 verse 5. It says, and besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to your virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness charity. For if these things be in you and abound, they make you that ye shall be neither barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. So you give yourself to following and walking in the Spirit, man. You'll never be unfruitful in the Lord's ministry, man. Okay, and eventually you're gonna be saved by that. So with that, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakakodash.
Now honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the elect. Shalom.